Marion, M-A-R-I-O-N, Colvin, C-O-L-V, as in Victor, I-N.
Okay. Would you consider sharing your birth date?
Yes, December 16th, 1923.
Wow, that's amazing. You look wonderful.
Well, I feel good. And everybody says, oh, they don't want to tell their age. I said, heck, I'm happy I lived this long. Well, my mother was an Ensmayer. She was born over in the Pine Grove area. I don't know where she met my father. My father was from New York area. In fact, my grandparents raised racehorses. So I'm still an animal lover. My mother worked in the shoe factory when I was a kid.
At Kreider's?
Mm-hmm.
In Annville?
In Annville.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And my father worked at the Penway Bakery.
The one that burned?
Mm-hmm. He was a delivery man back when they had horse and wagons. Yes, they call it the Lebanon Valley home.
Okay.
But it is United Church of Christ.
Well, you've really kept your roots right here in Annville then.
Yes, I did.
Except for, do I understand correctly, you had a stint in the military?
Yes, I did.
How did that all come about?
Well, my girlfriend, Pearl Nicholas, and I were riding our bicycles out in the country, and they had these signs up all over, you know, join the Navy, and all the things you do, horseback riding, swimming, and all this good jazz. I said, you know what? I said, I had somebody join the Navy with me. I'd join. She said, I'll join. So we rushed home. I asked my mother for money to take the bus to Harrisburg. That's where you had to go to join. And Pearl already had money. So we hopped on the bus and we went up there. And when I got up there, I wasn't old enough to join. So
how old did you have to be?
Well, I was on, I guess, 20. Should have been 21. Anyway, he said, come back on your birthday. He said, and we'll sign you up. And I did. And so did Pearl. And we left in January, went to Philadelphia, and they found she had a heart murmur. So they kept her a couple of days. So I stayed at the YMCA there, and they were checking her out. And they passed her. So then we got sworn in and shipped to New York. Actually, it was college. Can't remember the name of the college that the service had taken over for our boot training. And when we got to boot camp, Pearl was shoved to one table, and I was shoved to the other one. So we got into different barracks. And my feet were hurting so bad. And it was cold. Oh my gosh, we were up by the reservoir. And the wind just blew across there, and it was colder than Billy Dawn. And then when we got our shots, some of the girls actually passed out along the way. Well, wanted to stop and help them. Oh, no, you weren't allowed to do that. You let them leave. Somebody else would have to get them. So anyway, we got through boot camp. Then we went to Bethesda, Maryland for our nurses' training. And there Pearl and I could room together. We'd study at night. We'd buy Heath bars by the carton box. And we'd eat them all in one night. We were assigned to the Philadelphia Naval Hospital. And I wasn't there too long until they shipped me to Swarthmore College, which incidentally, the building that was taken over for actually the less, how shall I say, those that were injured and needed rehabilitation and what have you. And the building that I was in is the same building at Swarthmore College that my son lived in when he went to college there.
Which one, Jim or Greg?
Jim. I said, I can't believe this. And I went out really, I thought, oh my, how it had changed. But that's where I was for, oh goodness, there. And then I was shipped from there to the sub-base up in Connecticut, New London, Connecticut, and that's where I was when I was discharged.
And how many years did you serve altogether?
2.5.
Okay.
2.5 years.
And this was during World War II?
This was during World War II. Yes, we took care of a lot of sick people. And sounds like I'm bragging, but I was good at giving shots. And back then, penicillin was the very prominent one. And we had a captain that was in for injuries. And of course, he had to get a shot every so often. And the nurse came in with the needle. He said, he swore. I won't say the swear word. He said, "You get out of here." He said, "Nobody gives me a shot but Marion. She's the only one that knows how to give them without hurting." So he called me and I gave him a shot. From there on, I took care of him. But I did an awful lot of, gave a lot of shots, bandaged a lot of wounds. I'll tell you what, war is hell.
War is hell?
It is. It is.
You saw the after effects firsthand.
Oh my, yes. And then we had a lot that come from Africa with malaria. It was bad. And of course, some of them lost their limbs, their eyes. In fact, there was one guy when I was at Philadelphia, actually half his face was shot away. And I must say, they did, I guess it was plastic surgery on him. And they drew his arm here. They used part of the skin from his arm, and it was up like this, the side of his, in a cast. And it was fastened here to his head and his face. And he was from, I think it was Alabama, and his wife wanted to come to see him. And he kept saying, "Please write her and tell her I don't want her to come. I don't want her to see me like this." Well, she did finally come anyway. But there were so many sad cases. Like I say, it's just horrible. I feel so sorry for them. In fact, I was to the VA this morning, and you see all the poor souls, a lot of them with after effects and the minds and in wheelchairs without limbs. It's so sad. It really is.
Well, I'm so thankful that we had someone as compassionate as you watching for our men and women in the military when they came home from those wars.
Well, I tell you what, if I could go again, I would.
God bless you.
I would. I would sign up today.
Do you get your health care
When I was swimming at the waterworks.
at the waterworks? Okay.
Yeah, we used to swim at the waterworks.
There's some big rocks around there, isn't there?
Every day. Up back to the waterworks, and that's where I met him.
And so when did you get married? Before or after you served?
After. Right after. He had been in the Army.
And I know your boys because I used to go to youth fellowship camp with them.
Yeah.
But you've got to tell me, did you also work or were you a stay-at-home mom? I know your husband passed away young.
I worked.
And what did you do?
Well, I worked at well, first I worked at Owner Brothers for, oh goodness, I don't know how many years I worked there.
And what business is Arnold Brothers?
Owner Brothers. Well, they were tire dealers. And they had a retread shop and what have you. I was a salesperson, but I was in the office. And then when Mr. Unger died, Henni's Tire bought them, and then I worked for Henni's.
Now that you say that, I remember seeing you there. I had forgotten that.
I think 35 years I was with Henni's.
And who did you look up to growing up?
My mom.
Why?
Well, she was very compassionate lady. And God bless her, they had lost a lot of money when the crash came in 21. And she worked in the shoe factory. And people gave, she had, well, I had 4 other sisters. So people would give us clothing. She'd rip it apart and remake it into clothing for us. Often she stayed up half the night sewing. And she was just the greatest person. And I always think, and I try to live by that. She said, always remember, God created all people equal. She said, you don't look up and you don't look down. And we used to have bums come around begging for food. And she said, don't forget, she said, you are just as equal to the man that provides the bread as well as the person who gives it to one who needs it. And remember, she always, even though we were maybe eating potatoes and beans, she still would manage to give me sandwich, usually bologna sandwich. Always had bologna.
Sounds like your faith is very special to you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, I'm curious, when you were in the hospital and you were taking care of these men and women who came back from the war, were you able to share your faith with them at all?
No, I don't recall that I did.
You had to separate the business end of it?
Yeah, I don't recall that I did.
What could you say to them to make them feel?
Well, we try and encourage them and tell them lies is what you do about recovering. As a matter of fact, I had a nurse, in fact, I think she still works over at the VA hospital. She and a couple girls, that nurses that were over in Vietnam, and they wrote a book, and she brought it up for me. And she tells their story, and I thought it's very much what our World War II was like. How the guys that, there was one guy in particular I know she talked about. He was a very good football player, and even received a scholarship in one of the colleges, and of course he was drafted for the war, and he was sent over there, and he was very, very badly injured. She said no way could he ever play football, but they kept encouraging him because he was really pretty much on his last leg. And she said we had to lie to him, tell him that yes, you will play football again, you gotta do this and you gotta do that. I don't know whatever happened to him, but it's really, you try and encourage them and get them to talk about maybe family, or if they had children, or well, any subject that really interests them. If you had enough time to spend a little time with them too.
If there were some young women considering going into the military today, what would you advise them?
Well, I say go and make the best of it. I know a lot of, well, we weren't allowed overseas. That was a no-no back with us. But I say think positive and do the best you can to do the job that you're required to do.
Did you know you...
I had a good life. I did. I still have a good life. I must say they treat you great here.
And I hear the cicadas in the trees above us.
Yeah.
Do you like to listen to them?
Oh, yes.
and watch the traffic go by.
Yes, and I read, and I read, and I read, and I read.